currently in the process of going game by game each team, and I started the ACC yesterday and ironically started with Pitt. So these are just win probabilities according to the FPI. They mean something, of course, because I think if we would chart it, they know the good teams and the bad teams and so forth and so on, but it's not. They have to go out there and play the games, and a lot of things change drastically. They're not extremely high on Pitt. I put down my probability of percentage of each team winning that particular game. And then I look at the FPI, obviously not to be influenced. And I actually thought more highly of Pitt football than the football power index. They're giving them now this is a topic right here. I haven't gotten to Miami yet, but obviously I've pieced together from looking at the other teams where they're standing with Miami. And this football power index, for one thing, that's shocking to me. I know Louisville's on the rise. I know Scott Satterfield's doing a nice job there, but they're going crazy on Louisville.
They are.
And Miami, they're suppressing Miami's numbers. Like, for example,
but Miami's earned that.
But so is Florida State. So listen to this.
Fair.
NC State, I just posted this video this morning. They're playing Miami and Florida State back-to-back weeks, both at home, and they're giving NC State a 46% chance to beat Miami. They're giving them a 23% chance of beating Florida State. Half the chance in consecutive weeks, both games at home in Raleigh. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, I was just talking about, again, centering Miami. There's reason to think, okay,
Yeah.
But in that comparison, yeah.
And listen to this. I'm looking at Pitt right now. I've already reviewed Pitt. At Miami, 41% chance of winning. So obviously Miami's at 59. So 41% chance Pitt winning at Miami, 20% at Florida State. Again, another 2-1.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
so
crazy.
Right. No, that again, in a vacuum, if we're talking about having a lower confidence number in Miami than one would think, that by itself is one thing.
Yeah.
But 2-1 for Florida State?
Yeah.
Come on.
I know. They love Virginia Tech, too. I've noticed that. Like Louisville and Wake Forest, I know nobody loves Wake Forest and everybody disregards Wake Forest, but they're churning out 7-5, 8-4s every year. Dave Clawson's a really good coach.
He is.
They're giving Louisville an 85% certainty at Wake Forest of winning this. I'm sorry, it's at Louisville. 85%. I just think it's
you lose the quarterback, and then the number one wide receiver, Surratt, is sitting out. So like, again, logically, I get but like, in compare, you can do these things kind of sometimes if you're going one at a time and just looking at, whatever, this team, that are like completely. But then when they cross over and you look at the comparison, again, a 2-1 or a 5-1 is compared to Miami and like things like that. Like, look, man, I just don't think that's true. Look, Scott Frost, because the super chat comment, Yellow 265, another Florida kid leaves Nebraska. First of all, thank you for the super chat contribution. Second of all, Scott Frost, we knew that he was going to try to get some guys from South Florida. I think that he went a little bit too high. He went over his station. And the Henry Grays of the world, the Keyshawn Green, is he the guy who left? Because if he is, I want Keyshawn Green. Come down to Miami. The Jaden Francois, they should have never been there. It should be a player maybe a level below them. But those kids aren't going to stay out there, man. I mean, you had a Levante David at one time, but he's 5'11" outside linebacker. He didn't really have the opportunity to go to a Miami like he wanted to. And I mean, we should have taken him, obviously, but we didn't. But things like that. But I mean, you have guys who can play all these other places. They're not going to stay in Nebraska, yo. And then you're losing the coaches that recruited them, and then you say, oh, well, we've built the program and culture in Lincoln, Nebraska. No, you haven't. I mean, Nebraska's done better with kids from California than kids from Florida. And that's been proven over the course of many, many, many years. Go and do that. You know what I mean? Like, go to Chicago, go to Detroit, go to Texas, go to California. You know, if you're looking for the kids from these other places, the Florida kids, there's going to be the exception to the rule. There's going to be the Levante David, the one or two other guys, but in general, nah. And I know that what he did is, you know, he worked at UCF last year or 2 years ago, so he had the relationships from when he was recruiting down here. You know, he's going to get some guys to go out there to Nebraska, but it's one thing to get a kid to go to a 55,000 person school in Orlando, even if it is UCF, you know, the largest community school in America, the largest university, one of the largest universities in America. It's different to do that and have everything that you have in the greater Orlando area on campus around than Lincoln, Nebraska, with all due respect. You know, and it's just, and especially because when you remove the coaches who recruited them, all we got is each other. You know, you just have the other couple, and not even on the team, the Florida guys on the team, you know, and then boom, Henry Gray, been gone. Jaden Francois, been gone. So now if you had three guys who went out there and the plug was, okay, the coach who recruited y'all is gone, but y'all got each other, y'all can vibe. The other two done already dipped. So now you looking around like Will Smith at the end of the Fresh Prince in the house by yourself. Like, you know what I mean? And like, could you go somewhere else? Could you make friends? I did. I moved from Detroit down to Miami, you know, but it wasn't, I didn't come down under the guise of me and the homeboy Nick and Chris and Mike and James, and then all of a sudden it's me by myself. And football players aren't really students, you know, because they want you in the facility so much, you work so much over there in athletics, and then you don't have the normal college experience. You're not even doing what I did because you don't have the ability to do it around campus, doing all these different things, clubs, activities, meet people, all that kind of stuff. So you're insulated, and now you're insulated in a spot by yourself. You know, a lot of us said that these Florida kids were not going to stick out there in Nebraska, and we've been proven true already. So again, Scott Frost, the game plan's already there. Look out west, go back to California, get you some guys from out there, maybe dip into Oklahoma, Texas, you know, the Great Plains areas, you know, things like that. And maybe one or two specific guys from Florida, but, you know, basing so many scholarships in one class from guys from Florida to Nebraska is just unsustainable. And it's what I've talked about with Miami at a time in recruiting, and definitely with Florida State, playing these away games. You know, if you're basing everything exterior, it's tough. You know, you got to stay local, you got to stay regional as the foundation, and go sprinkle in, some from other places. But you start playing all these away games in recruiting, and these kind of things happen.
The state of Colorado is not deep in talent, but usually the top 3 to 5 players are really good, and Nebraska's been successful going there as well for obvious reasons. It's right there, and when Nebraska's on its game, it's considered it's the best football factory in thousands of miles, taking Iowa into consideration to a certain extent, and obviously Wisconsin in recent years, and well, I call it recent years, in the last 20-some years, has been the best program in that part of the country. To your point, it's more complex than this, but the two components that come to mind when talking about that culture shock potential to me is weather and feel, vibe, pop, things to do, activity, population, all that. So Columbus, Ohio is not necessarily a metropolitan place that's got all the vibe of Miami or LA, but much more so than Lincoln, Nebraska. It's like a top 25 to 30 population place when thinking about, obviously, I was making the connection. Obviously, Ohio State has done extremely well going to South Florida or anywhere in Florida and grabbing top players, but that's kind of a different deal. And they've almost made themselves different than anybody in the North to a certain extent, although Penn State, Notre Dame, Michigan, obviously grabbing tremendous talent. So who we might be talking about, we've got Camonte Grimes just committed 2 weeks ago from Palmetto Ridge, Naples, Florida, 37th rated athlete in the nation.
Oh, well, maybe. I mean, hey, yeah, It's just not sustainable for them. I just don't think that it is.
Patrick Payton, and I'm looking at the 2021 class. Patrick Payton committed out of Northwestern, outside linebacker, 27th rated outside linebacker in the nation, committed about a year and a half ago.
Mm.
So the two Florida kids that are fairly highly rated.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, Nebraska is all over the place for these kids, and they have to be.